intense touring and just generally working 24 hours a day basically, and if not recording the interviews and radio and all sorts of stuff. Managed to stop and have like a proper break as opposed to a couple of weeks or like a couple of months, 2.5 months, 3 months or something. And we went away to this cottage to genuinely have a total contrast in my time with it, and obviously it was always going on, material was written, and it didn't cross my mind that it shouldn't be recorded or anywhere else. And it was recorded. I'd written or contributed lyrics up to that point.
Yeah.
And then, but Robert wrote "Thank You" on his own. And that was the first one.
Yeah.
And that's really quite important really, because it's like the first step of him really coming through on his own as a lyricist, which was really great, I'd always hoped that it would, I thought he had it in him.
Yeah.
And
what about on the third album? Was it sort of mixed?
The third album, Gallows Pole, was like a traditional thing. That was arranging and mine. Tangerines when I wrote on my own. Immigrant Song was Robert. You really have to go through them track by track.
Yeah. Was it?
That was his lyrics. As far as the riff went, I remember going up to Birmingham, just playing with bombs, coming up with the main part, and the next part of it, Jing, came from Rumble.
Really?
But you never know these things. They just sort of hang around in your head, and we get sued by me.
Just Soul Link Ray recently.
Huh?
Just Soul Link Ray recently.
It's not Rumble, but the idea of it was
right.
So consequently, well, anyway. Oh, the third album you want?
Yeah, third album. Was the group living together in the cottage? Was that?
No. It's just Robert and myself.
And you wrote the whole album there?
No, not all of it. Just certain sections of it. That's the way. Quite a few things. It's just the tranquility of the place. Just set up in there in their own mood.
Yeah, we were talking when
you got it. Obviously, once it's you have to crash away at a 100-watt Marshall stand.
Right.
Well, having played acoustic, being interested in very much people, and generally classical playing and things like that, I'd get more into that. So obviously, at the cottage where there was no electricity anyway, it was acoustic guitar time.
Yeah.
And as I said, it didn't occur to us not to include it because it was relative to the changes that were going on.
Yeah. Did you think there would be any problem?
We were just
doing
sitting.
It live when you?
No, in fact, when we did the Bath Festival, we just went out there and did those numbers.
Yeah. Had the band ever had an acoustic set before?
No. No, we played Baby, I'm Going to Leave You Electrically.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah.
So, there must have been a whole, rethink there in a way. We've done this acoustic, not acoustic album, but an album with a lot of acoustic tracks. That means we're going to have to do an acoustic set.
Just meant that we had to employ some of those numbers on stage without being frightened about them, you know? And then they were received amazingly. Yeah.
Yeah, had you wanted to sort of get into more sort of your English, folk influence, or was that the influence of being at the cottage? Just, the album sort of has a pastoral feel, almost.
Well, it has that because that's how it was.
Yeah.
After all this sort of heavy, intense vibe of the touring, Chateau Marmont, sort of thing, which is sort of totally reflected in raw energy on the other one. Heartbreaking, sort of stuff, It was just a totally different. I mean, it's. I've always sort of tried to capture like a quality about, the song, the actual vibe of it, the emotional quality of it, and transmit that, because that's what music seems to be about, really. As far as the instrumental side of it goes, isn't it? Because the lyrics obviously going to speak for themselves, but even still, you've still got to set the mood, and want to pave the way with the drama. I don't know, it was obviously just it was in us, all this sort of stuff, it was there. Everything can still be related to the essence of that sort of thing. Think about it that way. But it's just that, the band kept maturing,
I mean, when the critical reactions did come out, were you surprised? I mean, you say, hold on,
well, I just thought
they don't understand.
Yeah, I just really haven't listened to it. They've heard it, but haven't listened to it. Because some of the criticism was just so silly. For instance, Melody Maker, Led Zeppelin 1, 2 and Weekend. And because Crosby, Stills and Nash had been over here with their acoustic guitars, and Zeppelin decided to don their acoustic guitars. That sort of thing, which just showed that people hadn't listened to what we'd done. And it wasn't until the fourth LP that people sort of understood there was something serious going on. That we weren't just messing around, at all.